Hi, it's John and Andy with Car Repairs Made Easy. Actually, I'm by myself. Andy is off at his regular job because we both have jobs outside of doing these videos. This isn't really what we completely do for a living, but we are here to help you and help you save money. Today we're going to work on a 96 Impala SS, and we are going to replace the brakes and show you how to burnish rotors when they're glazed. And I will have it set on a tripod like this so I can have both of my hands to work. And so let's get started. Okay, so here's the vehicle we're working on, 96 Impala SS. I'm going to get aimed down here where we're going to work on the brakes. Now these brakes aren't particularly worn out, but the customer says they squeak because he put aftermarket ones on and he wants the factory pads. So we are going to take this brake pad assembly apart and we're going to burnish the rotors, that is, scuff them up to get the glazing off, and then we are going to put some factory AC Delco pads on here and see if we can cure his issue. So first things first, if you go in between the fins here of the rotor and you pull back a little bit, you can compress the piston just a little. See, now it's a little bit loose and we can get those pads off. Now the caliper slide pins on this are a 3/8 Allen type. And we're going to crack these loose. That one's still a little bit stuck. Okay, now we should be able to slide this out. Now remember, when you do brakes, do not let the caliper hang by the brake hose. That's not good for that. It actually extends it and makes the hose stretch or crack, and you could have brake issues later. So there we are there. This is actually a pretty rusty caliper, so I'm probably going to end up cleaning up the surfaces where the pads hit. We're in the desert here. We don't see a lot of rust, but the car came from back east, and if you can see on the pad surface here, it's pitted pretty good. Possibly from rust. This slide here is all bent up and coming apart. So we're going to get this guy back on the road with some new stuff that'll hopefully stop better and stop his noise. So I'm going to get this wheel here turned straight and come back, and I'll show you how to burnish it. Okay, so here we are ready to burnish the rotor, and what we're going to use here is just your die grinder and one of these roll-lock discs, which is what we used at the factory, especially with we both worked at GM. This is one of the recommendations because under warranty GM doesn't want to pay for you to refurnish the rotors or cut them, so this is their fix for that. This is all the customer was satisfied with. Didn't want to have his rotors taken off and the bearings packed and stuff for us to burnish, or actually cut the rotors to a new surface and put the unidirectional finish on. So we're going to just try to do a unidirectional finish with this and get some of this glazing off that you see here. It's almost like a mirror. So we're going to start that now. It's going to get a little bit noisy, but just wanted to show it to you. So if you have this type of stuff at your house, you can do this and maybe save yourself from having your rotors cut. Now this is also, if they pulsate and shake, when you're stopping, you really do need to turn the rotors, but on this case, we're just going to do this to get the glazing off. So we're going to hook up our shop air. Okay, now if you see on this rotor, we have a little more of a satin finish, and you can see all the burnish marks in there. It's going to take about 10 minutes on each side of the rotor to get all of that out of there. And then to get to the back side, you would go through here where the back pad would hit the rotor, so you don't have to take the entire rotor off. But just wanted to show you so you get the idea. You can see the unidirectional finish on that is what we want to get as much a new surface of the rotor on there as we can. So I'm going to finish this up and I'll show you how to put the pads on. Okay, so we're done burnishing and now we're going to get back to reassembly here. One thing I like to know is, like I said, the customer wanted to use AC Delco pads. So we got this from a General Motors dealership. So here is your aftermarket pad. Okay, see, smooth, material's bonded. Then you look at an AC Delco pad, and they're like original equipment. You see how they're attached with rivets, and they also have a silencer built in, which is this right here. So once they get low, they will start to squeal. So now we're going to get back to reassembly. One thing we need to do is, this clip right here is a retainer that goes on the back of the shoe here, okay, or the pad I mean, and that holds it against the rotor. Now when you put a pad in, if you get them with these silencers, okay, you want them to be on the trailing edge. So this normally turns this way as the car goes forward. That would be the trailing edge at the top. Okay, so that's where we're going to put this one. So we'll put our clip on. And this is a little bit loose, so I'm going to tighten it up a little bit. And that will save us. There, now it's nice and secured. Okay, so that sets into your caliper like so and snaps in. Okay, that's the retainer for that one. Now on this pad that goes on the outside, it has a tab here, and then it has these tabs back here. Now these are already set. When you set it in, see how loose that is? Okay, pads on this car need to be tight for noise. So these tabs here are meant to be tapped with a ball peen or some type of hammer to bend them, so when I put that in, it's nice and secure. So I'll grab my hammer and I'll be right back and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so this one I've lightly tapped with a ball peen. You just bend them down just a little bit. And now you'll see in here when I install this, you gotta make sure you don't hit it too far. But it kind of like snaps in there. And see, it's secure, doesn't fall out. You want that so it doesn't flop around in the caliper once it's installed. Okay. Next thing I like to note is both of these caliper pins were completely dry. Okay, these are your slides because it's a floating caliper. So what they supply in the brake kit is some silicone compound, and you don't need a whole lot. You're going to put a little bit here where it rides on the outside, and a little little bit right here at the end where the threads are. Okay, and then just kind of smear that around. This will keep the caliper operating properly and not sticking. Okay, now we're ready to install our caliper. Make sure these slides here are good. Okay, they're on a rubber grommet. Just kind of push that back. Knock my pad off. So now we're going to go in like this. Get it set in there. Push our pins through. Tighten these down secure. About a quarter turn after tight is sufficient. Bring you in for a closer look. That's the completed job with the new pads. Now we're going to put this wheel back on. We'll go to the other side and we'll be right back. Okay, now we're on the other side. This is the passenger side. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pull our caliper just a little bit. Don't want to pull too much. You could actually break your screwdriver here, but this is a quick way technicians use just to compress it a little bit and make sure you go in between the fins. And we're going to crack loose our caliper slide pins. Same thing. Remember, these were extremely dry, so you can feel the sand grinding around in there, and we're going to clean those off and put some new lube in. Just a little bit of rust on this car. Thing here. If you notice how these pads just kind of fall off, you hear the rattle. That's probably why this customer had noise, plus, well, the rust buildup back here that's all over it. But again, these tabs need to be bent, and I'm wondering if the last person that put them on, it could have been the owner, previous owner, a shop, whoever, didn't know to do that to make them tight on the caliper so they don't flop around and make them chatter where they actually sound like they're squeaking. Okay, remember, don't let this hang by the hose. I usually stick it up top like that, and that kind of holds it. It may fall off, but it kind of holds it in place so you can work and do what you got to do before you get back putting the pads in. Now I'm going to burnish this one like the other side like I showed you. And I'm sure you got the idea, so I don't want to waste any more filming time here. So I'm going to get that ready and come back, and we will reassemble this, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, same thing as before. Got our rotors burnished. Got to take our old clip off of this pad. I'm going to bend these tabs in just a little bit. Put it onto our pad here. Snap on nice and tight. Get that set into the caliper itself. Remember, we got to bend these tabs just in case it fits loosely. So we're going to put that on. Yep, we got some slop there. Still a little bit loose. And all I'm doing is setting it on the concrete, stand up like this, and tapping on these. Okay, one more slop, nice and tight. So we're going to come back down here. Set our caliper back on. Looks like on here I'm going to have a little difficult because I need to compress that piston just a little bit more. Get our big channel locks in there. There we go. Set our pad back in. Set this one back in. This one's giving me fits. So let me push this piston back more. I'll be right back. Okay, that piston moved back just a little bit more. I thought it was bottomed out, but stick that pad in like that. This one in now that we got it nice and tight, and there we go. Now we're back on like we should be. Remember to lube your caliper slides like I showed you on the other side. Some kits come with the silicone compound like this. We're going to put a little bit on this end, a little bit on that end, smear it around a little bit. Slide that one in. Same thing on this one. A little bit there. A little bit there. And you see they barely give you enough just to do your 4 pins. I'm going to put this in here. Get them tightened down snug. Nice and tight. Okay, now we're going to put this wheel on and we'll be right back to close her out. So this is another video from Car Repairs Made Easy with John and Andy. Like I said, Andy was off at work, but now he decided to show up and work with us. So I hope this helped you save some money and you can see how everything works and how to install your brakes and burnish the rotors, and we'll see you next time.